Thank you very much, Joe, and welcome everybody to the 2014 European Challenger Series, brought to you in part by your friends at Coca-Cola. I am David Freak Turley. Joining me tonight is Sam Kobe Hartman-Kensler. We got some fun games going on today.
Very excited. I like how we get to watch the whole European LCS now before we jump into Challenger.
Yeah, it starts at 10 a.m. We get to go into work and immediately start watching games and then just cast more of them. It's a wonderful experience. Now, guys, coming up on tonight's broadcast, we have the last European quarterfinal match in the spring series. That is Cloud9 Eclipse versus Pulse Esports.
Yeah, so the winner of tonight's best of three will advance to the next week's semifinals, where they'll face off against Meet Your Makers, who took out Eyes on You last night.
Now, it was a good match. If you guys didn't see that, you can go back and watch it, of course, on the YouTube and everything else. But, of course, don't take his word for it. Let's check out the bracket. You can see for yourself what's going on. Let's start at the bottom and work our way up. Like Kobe put it a moment ago, the winner of tonight's best of three quarterfinals will face Meet Your Makers next Friday, February 7th, in our second semifinal match of the week.
But first, on February 6th, it'll be former LCS pros, the Ninjas in Pajamas, taking on the tongue-twisted squad of the Challenger Series, Trick, Tick, and Duck, in our first semifinal series.
Yeah, even you got that one wrong.
Boo.
Trick, Tick. It's just
Close
it's a tongue
enough.
twister. I didn't even know that was on purpose, actually. I should have even called you out on that one. Of course, as always, if you want more information, head over to the home of LOL Esports, the appropriately named lolesports.com.
And you can find all of the information on the Challenger information that you need. Just click on that tab that says League and Tournaments near the top of the page.
Of course, guys, let's get to it. Tonight's best of three quarterfinal between Cloud9 Eclipse and Pulse Esports. Spawning in the blue side for tonight is going to be the top-seeded Rank 5's team, Challenger Series, Cloud9 Eclipse.
Yeah, so far in their 2 games in the Challenger Series, they've locked up the top. They've looked like the top team.
Yeah.
Pretty easily dominating Aatrox gaming before taking down heavy bot lane as well. The key to their success has actually been their bottom lane.
Yeah.
Their support, Voidal, has played on Gambit last year, and he's actually now in Challenger for Season 4 already. So he's jumped up the ranks pretty quickly. Then the MVP, we have to give it to their AD carry. Hjarnan is how you say that.
Yeah.
He's played Lucian in both of their wins, and he's got an incredible 15-1-8 combined.
Yeah, and he was like top 40 on Challenger last I checked, so he's like way the heck up there. Now, of course, the team tasked with shutting down Hjarnan and C9 today is Pulse Esports. Now, Pulse went man mode and Revolt Gentlemen Esports Club before tossing aside Salat-Matzonian to reach today's quarterfinal match.
Pulse Esports roster used to play under the moniker of Heroes Team, and they're a Polish squad with a lot of ties to the European LCS. A couple of them were actually on Team Rocket. You know, they've been doing all right so far in the European LCS, so it's a good tie to have right there.
Yeah.
In fact, their jungler, Kikis, is still a sub on Rocket right now. And their star for Pulse so far during the Challenger Series is another former member of Rocket, the mid laner. What is that? NIQ 760.
Yeah, he's been around. He keeps changing his name, actually.
Sounds like a mouse or something.
Highly technical.
So he's carried Pulse to victory in both of their games so far, going 9-3 and 8 as Yasuo versus the Gentleman, and then 8-0-3 as Nidalee versus STO. Pretty good scores.
Yep, they've been doing a really good job, and of course Yasuo, is back in the mix this time. We've seen him picked and banned throughout the LCS this week, but I always like seeing the all-star Yasuo players because you're almost sure to see that champion in Champ Select in the bans or in the picks.
Yeah, like if Coaster playing Zion Spartan, definitely you either want to ban that away from him or have a plan to deal with it. So you either get to see him play or see the face on the screen, I guess.
Yeah, see what happens. So Nidalee dropped away there from NIQ. Riven dropped from Fabiven. He's a really big fan of Riven play. Actually played her both times so far in the Challenger Series. These guys really know their bans coming into this one.
A lot of people that liked Riven also like Yasuo, though. So there's a lot of crossover there between these melee AD carries that are very popular right now.
Yeah, Fabiven has been playing him in solo queue there. The Thresh Voidal's by far most popular champion, or I guess favorite champion, whatever it's going to be. Elise, actually interesting. So Ku not wanting to first pick Elise for his team. C9 has other ideas here.
I mean, with Vi and Elise being banned out, those are the 2 really go-to junglers. Now it opens up the gates for like Olaf, Wukong, my favorite, Fiora. I think that one's going to shoot up the ranks pretty quick.
Fiora jungle?
Fiora jungle. She's really strong right now because of the changes to the Spirit Zone.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, that's going to be the next big jungler.
I hope this is true. I really do.
It's not a joke. In the late game, her ultimate is crazy. It's like Wukong, except she just kills everybody instead of knocking them up.
Fair enough. All right, so Elise Sin actually the one picked up. Not Riven, unfortunately. Not yet. likely a jungler here. Pulse, I feel like those aren't their real picks just yet. I feel like you wouldn't grab Singed and Mundo this early.
No,
they had the
those
plan
two
here.
don't really synergize well for you. They
Well,
do the same thing.
I don't mind them both being on the same team, as like you run like Sivir Mundo Singed sounds amazing, and I would be on that team any given day. But like, why pick Singed this early when you could pick Mundo and hide, and then go from there? I'm just saying.
I think you're a genius, Freak.
I am a genius.
They're probably not going to lock those two in.
No.
It's a good call.
Yes, they didn't lock Mundo Singed. The Gragas, I like that look though, because we've seen Gragas. Stop messing with me. Jinx, great choice. I like Jinx too.
Okay, so with all the focus that Cloud9 put on junglers, with banning out 2 junglers and then first picking a jungler, it leaves Pulse to have that in the last pick. Like, they don't have to pick it anytime early, and so they're trying to get the OPs that they want. OP bottom lane, Jinx, super popular right now. We've seen it pretty much every game, either picked or banned, and then Mundo as well for the top lane. So they get 2 power picks just for all the focus that Cloud9 put on the jungle.
Wow, we'll see then what else kind of comes through here. Of course, the Jinx pick of the litter sort of grabbed right now. The Leona actually pickup is interesting. So Ku grabbing this for Voidal. Voidal's not played a lot of Leona in general. Kind of scarcely played in solo queue, not played a lot in competitive. So I'm wondering how familiar he is with this one. Meanwhile, the Caitlyn, also not something we see a ton from Kjarnan.
Well, especially if you're going up against a Leona that's not that practiced, then you want to get either Annie or another ranged support like Lulu that can harass her down early. We've seen so many people starting Annie now with just Q instead of W, so you don't even have to charge up your stun. You just start with Q, go at Doran's ring, and start shooting Leona as soon as you get to lane, harass her down, and you kind of cut out that early aggression that she brings to the table. Lulu does a lot of the similar things there, and she can actually also shove the wave at the same time she does that because she's using Glitter Lance.
It's true. Could make life pretty difficult here for Cloud9 Eclipse, but we do see the bottom lanes all but locked in here. So Olaf is going to be something considered. Here it is. Likely jungle Olaf and top Mundo. We could see that go the other way around, but Pulse saving NIQ's pick for the very end there to counterpick mid.
Yeah, that's kind of been more the style since it's such a mid-focused game, and both of these mid players here have a really big sway on how the team does. So I like leaving that one for a last pick, but that being said, there's a lot of mid picks that you can take first. Like Gragas, not a lot of bad matchups, so you don't really have to be worried about getting counterpicked if you choose first.
Well, looks like he's going to lock that in, so Fabivin going to be back onto Gragas there. No stranger to that champion in general. But looking at what's going to go top lane for Odwam, that's going to be Shyvana versus Mundo. I feel like I don't see that matchup very often, which is weird because like they're both really popular. But Shyvana versus Mundo in the top lane. Lisa and
I couldn't tell. You're being sarcastic, right?
Like,
are you serious?
I'm actually like, the thing is, relative to their popularity individually, I don't see as much Shyvana versus Mundo. Like, I keep seeing Renekton show up.
You need to watch some more League of Legends, Freak.
Like, no, I mean like 2 patches ago.
Okay.
Shyvana versus Mundo was like every single game. Since 4.1, I guess with the Shyvana nurse being a big part of that.
So you're missing
I missed the
glow
Dragon
days.
Lady.
Okay, okay.
The Dragon Lady's been gone for a while.
Well, to refresh your memory on just how this matchup goes, since we have seen so much of it, Shyvana is going to take that Ignite, so because she wants a combat summoner versus Mundo, cut through her healing Freak. That frees up Mundo to have the global advantage because he can take Teleport. He doesn't have to bring Ignite.
And you know, when she gets level 6, she can interrupt the teleport.
Oh, you're so good at this. You know, also, there were some nerfs to her in the recent patch that you're talking about. So maybe, you know, that's why I haven't seen quite as much of this matchup. She's still very strong, and she can actually still bully Mundo early. It's just not as dramatic of a difference as before. And we've actually seen players where the top laner is a little bit better on the Mundo. He comes out even in CS. So it's like, seems like they're a little bit more in favor of Mundo nowadays.
We'll see if Jokies can do it, of course. Nick 760 picks up Kale for the mid lane grab right here, even against Gragas, which is scary to me just because you can kill her. She's squishy until at ultimate. Yeah, Kale's a killable champion, like most champions.
Everybody is always like, oh yeah, Kale is such a good counter to all these assassins like Kha'Zix and Zed and all this stuff. If you CC her at all, she does not build like HP. You can 100% her before she can get her ultimate off. So if she decides to save someone like Jinx, we're like, oh, such a good comp. We're gonna save Jinx with Kale ultimate and Lulu ultimate. You just switch targets.
Kill.
Take out the Kale because she's very squishy. She's also an attack, melee attack, or not a melee attack range, but she's also fairly close. Exactly.
Yeah. Only goes up to 500, I believe, with Righteous Fury on. So shorter than basically Sivir attack range with her E on, if I have my numbers right. And thankfully, we're in Spectator, so if she misses the ultimate, we can just point it out and be like, yep, didn't press R. What a scrub.
You enjoy that, huh?
I'll just make fun of all the players that are significantly better than me.
Such a bully freak.
I'm safe here in America. It's got to take a while to get over here. I'm not going to see these guys till Worlds if they make it to Summer Split. Not even a problem here.
So I'm predicting some dance-off action.
I hope so.
Down here. It's always fun to see the Mundos up top lane because you get the little mini game of chucking cleavers into the bush.
Yes.
But Lee Sin here isn't even playing that game. He has not even gone into that bush yet, so we don't actually even get to see a skill shot contest early.
That wouldn't even be fair. Ku couldn't even see him coming.
No, but he could hear him coming.
That's true.
Throw out sonic waves.
Yes. Sonar the cleavers. The speed of sound is slower, though. You get less time to react.
I'll drink you.
All right, so actually we got taunts and laughs coming in the mid lane. No dancing, actually. Odwamna in a bit of an interesting spot. He's kind of more towards the mid lane. I feel like there's a plan here for C9 because of just the fact that Lee Sin's up more, or maybe I'm like looking at nothing.
I'm pretty sure he's just going to start on his red. That way their bottom lane, the Caitlyn and Leona, can shove. This is what a lot of people have been making this adjustment because they don't want their bottom lane to get pushed in early and be behind that early level 2.
Yeah.
So a lot of junglers have been not requiring their duo lanes to help them. So I think that's what Ku and Odamne are doing right now. Whereas we'll have to see how it turns out because Lulu is going to help, and it's just going to be Jinx in the 1 versus 2 down here for the first 10 seconds or whatever it takes him to help. So that's going to mean the early level 2 going to the Leona lane.
That's going to be scary. Doran should have both these guys, so Ku hits level 2. Yeah, so the junglers start out pretty much equal and safe. They've been missing some early CS, really early push by NIQ, so that's going to be a 2 minion lead here.
Dang, 2 minion lead, that's huge. Now it's down to 1.
Yeah, so I thought Kale got the entire wave, and I'm like, wow, she only got 4 CS in the shove. Never mind, that completely ruined my entire point.
It was good because she was going for that harass that you're talking about. If you establish yourself as the alpha player in lane early, then you can play around the other person being defensive from then on. Yeah. So even though you lose out on the CS on the first wave by going for full harass, you can make it up later.
Ooh, Voidal shouldn't have missed that one.
So I guess you were talking about how he hasn't played that much Leona.
Yeah.
Maybe it's showing.
Missed that one.
Right there.
Thing is, Alendix actually, he's been spamming the crap out of Leona in solo queue. It's like 3 times as much as next most played. And so some of that was like, oh, they're trying to steal because they researched. But then like if Voidal doesn't do well, it's like, well, you kind of picked yourself.
Yeah, sometimes you get yourself into a sticky situation if you are counter picking, but it's not something you're comfortable on.
Yeah.
So then everybody's uncomfortable, and it just is awkward, kind of like sitting next to Freak. Oh! Meanwhile, Lee Sin's down bottom lane. He's going to go for a gank.
All right, there we go. Lands it. Will it take a bunch of damage? Slowed down by Lee Sin. Good glitter lance, but the guy's still running away. It's going to be Voidal eating a chomper and then walking back, but good damage, forcing a flash.
All right, so they got a flash down bottom. Let's see what happens up top, because this is basically just the jungler's choice now. Lee Sin opted to focus his duo lane, whereas Olaf is going top, and is not even going to get a flash.
Wow, good job by Dwamna, knowing the timing roughly, getting that one down at a good time right there. Sees Olaf was looking for a gank, doesn't find nothing. So we're back down to this bottom lane. So Hjarnan and Voidal getting the early push going. Of course, they had that at the beginning. They're back to the state right here, trying to harass, actually. Willa and Alendix taking a good bit of pain. And even though that gank only burned a flash, just the fact that Jinx has lost so much health means she has to give up a lot of control on this lane.
Definitely, successful ganks are not just measured in kills. The harass and summoners burned doing a really big part, because that takes its toll in CS. Since they were already getting shoved under the turrets, it's going to be harder for her to keep up.
Burned that potion already, about half HP, actually even lower. Yeah, okay, so an early recall here from Jinx, just enough for a Vamp Scepter. So that's going to be where she goes back in. We'll see if Cloud9 Eclipse matches that with their bottom lane soon. Ku looking for an invade right here. Does not get it. Actually, Smites early does not steal the big wolf. Steals a little one, level 4. That's a good one.
Consolation prize.
Consolation, 8 gold.
You get the Junior Wolf. That's going to be a waste of time for him. So Olaf slightly up now. But Caitlyn has been doing work on this bottom turret because of that early recall you talked about for Jinx. It's not always a terrible situation to be the one to be forced to recall first, because as long as you do get to the point, your first purchasing point, which is that Vamp Scepter, then your opponent pretty much has to recall as soon as you get back anyway, and you've gotten through the early phase where they got shoved in the early level 2 of Leona, and they can even it out here in the next wave.
And Voidal on the recall actually picks up a Relic Shield as well. So Cloud9 actually got a second recall. They got both their champions, whereas Alendix stayed in the lane. So random things to think about. Lulu's going to hit 6 first, and Lulu has no new items. So I want to see if that actually plays out anywhere.
Yeah, good thing for them, Lulu hitting 6 first is more of a defensive ult that she's going to get, whereas Leona would be looking for a kill as soon as she hits it. So it looks like it is going to be a bit more of a defensive posture here. But because they're both spread out, Lulu wanting to go purchase as well leaves, again, Jinx by herself for a little bit here, and going to lose out on a few more CS.
All right, so weirdly timed recalls. Willet's going to be stuck in a 1v2 for a bit of time. You can see you're zoned out right here. Mid laner's tried to roam through and doesn't find anything for it, though. Gets pinged out, doesn't find Mundo. Zap gets the cannon. Nice play by Wulite. Does not get jumped on by Voidal. No.
Another good juke or misplay from Voidal, however you want to look at it.
He was revealed, too, so he had hit a Caitlyn trap already.
So
didn't land it.
Is this something that you definitely want to do when you're playing junglers like a Mumu or something with those long-range skill shots that your opponent knows you're looking for? If you also have something that's melee like Leona, you can just run up and Q her. Just run straight at the champion because they'll try and juke you like that, as you can see, and which will allow you to gain distance. And then you can just land the point-blank thing. That's usually the higher percentage play to go for instead of trying to land a long-range bandage toss or Zenith Blade.
Yeah. Well, Kikis gets jumped on level 5, dropped very low, gets the Kayle ulti just in time. Ku not going to capitalize on that kill just yet. NQ low on health and now no ulti.
Ooh, dangerous. Can he land the Sonic Wave?
There's the flash. The Q does not land. Doesn't get Terror Aggro either, so he's pretty safe.
So that was very dangerous. Kayle uses his flash before Sonic Wave comes out, but is able to dodge right after he flashes. Immediately after flashing, sidesteps, expecting the Sonic Wave from Ku.
Very well played right here. Blue buff invade, though, coming across. We did see the Kikis got very low. Blue's picked up by Hjarnan. That is nice for Cloud9 Eclipse. Early buff steal.
You definitely want to delay Kayle as long as possible, and taking away the blue is going to help a lot. It's even better that Ku didn't have to take that blue and they gave it to Hjarnan, because now they can just constantly shove that in. And since they already got early turret damage, that's going to definitely take its toll.
It absolutely is. Just good luck here to Pulse on the bottom lane. Looks like a bit of a different build there for Alendix, going for the Sightstone with that Ruby Crystal. We'll see how that one pans out for these guys. Minions, as far as the AD carry is concerned, pretty equal. Items pretty close. Hjarnan went for a pickaxe instead of a Vamp Scepter. Top lane is progressing, though, as well. Odoamne is going for Blade of the Ruin King versus the standard... I don't know. Joki's got an extra Ruby Crystal. Maybe he just couldn't afford the chain
You
vest.
can make... Yeah.
I don't really see that, though.
You don't really see Mundo with Warmonks?
Not the first item.
Yeah. Rushing
not against Shyvana.
Maybe not. Since Shyvana is going for a Blade of the Ruin King, it would be a perfect counter build for her. If Mundo rushes Warmonks,
more health,
then Blade of the Ruin King is going to do wonders for him.
Uh-oh. A little bit unsafe for Odoamne. NIQ shows up as well. Turns onto the Dragon Form. Cleaver gets flashed, and it's going to be safe. Whew, close one.
Very close one. But meanwhile, down bottom, as we said, I feel like blue buff is really underrated on AD carries. Caitlyn is half AD caster with the Piltover Peacemaker making up a tremendous amount of her damage for harass and wave shoving.
Yeah.
It's really going to help her out, and they're doing a lot down there.
Ooh, good ult by NIQ, though. Is going to put some damage back out of Bevin. Kikis shows up as well. All right, they trade ultimates, and decent amount of health bars on both sides.
Without that blue buff for Kayle, it's going to take a lot longer for him to sustain in lane. And he is slowly draining on mana, so Ku could go for another turret dive, knowing that the Kayle ulti is down.
Oh, there he is.
Missed axe!
They're just walking at each other, look for NIQ. No flash available, kicks him, and down goes NIQ. Ku just getting run at by Kikis, doesn't even care. Good kill pickup.
I like that he was going to go for the dragon kick into the sonic wave so that you can actually use your target's body as an escape to get out of the turret. But the kick killed him anyway, so it was unnecessary. Good thing the turret was on for Vivian, though. Just able to walk out.
Wow, the jump on a kick is good damage there. Ku forced backwards, but he is playing very aggressively and landing a good amount of it.
Yeah, Ku's really having a good time in that mid lane. Every time Vivian calls out the cooldowns there for Kale, he makes the move and he capitalizes on it very, very quickly. I like their mid and jungle communication seems to be really on point so far.
Yeah, they're doing a good job of it. And I also want to point out that Ku got an early Doran's Blade. His Spirit Stone just now got finished. He's going towards Ancient Golem. But he had Boots, Machete, Doran's Blade. So like going for the combat stats, knew he wanted to get those ganks in. And he found him, so that was good.
That is an interesting play because a lot of people really want to get the Sight Stone as early as possible to be able to make those more of those spectacular plays. But with the addition of those trinket-free hopping wards there, less so nowadays.
Yeah, you got something to cover that one for now. Pulse pushing up the mid lane for now. Minions actually going pretty well into Vivian's favor right now. 1,000 gold lead for Cloud and Eclipse.
Oh,
nice knockback, and they've got Ku coming in, but Vivian forced backwards, but just buys enough time, doesn't land the Sonic Wave.
So that one, we already talked about the mid and jungle communication. It seemed like Vivian was just a little early there as Lee Sin was not in position, but sometimes you do that on purpose because a laner that sees that much aggression is going to instantly check for jungler, and when there's no jungler around, then it'll put them at ease, allowing him to come in later.
Shows up, yeah. It's like a double fake or something. Pulse.
Look triple deke. Go for Mighty Duck reference?
Yes.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yes. Oh man, here we go. Cloud9 Esports into the flying V right there. Ku looking for the race. He's going to find him. He's going to get that one. Not a big problem. There are no counter jungling by Kikis just yet. Odwamna still trading with Chokies up in the top lane. These guys actually holding pretty equal. Only 14, 15 minutes apart. Kikis, though,
kind of a random call for Dragon here. They do not have a pink ward down. This is not prepped. They've not made any changes over to sweepers for sweeping lens control. And they did not have vision of Lee Sin. And so definitely good. I think it was a good reaction by whoever told them to stall out and cancel that dragon.
Yeah, I actually like random dragons because you never think about them. Q just actually warded that second, though, and I was like, actually, you know, and he finds it, so that was cool. There is a pink ward here for Lendix. Didn't use it to sweep anything, though. The Voidal still zoning at the back lane. Look at the levels, by the way. 8 and 8 versus 6 and 8. There's a big level lead down in the bottom lane here.
Yeah, it's really showing because of the mistimed recalls, I guess. You actually lose out on some amount of experience because two people share lane experience and you get a bonus. While a single person does get more, you lose out on that bonus.
And looks like the dragon's going to be falling down pretty quickly. Oh, just coming across. Kikis does pick it up. Nice smite. Ku couldn't even press the button in time. So Dragon goes to Pulse.
Didn't even have to use his Ragnarok there, but just the ghost going down so he could get into position, and very well-timed Jinx Rocket as well. Like the steal away for them. And their AD carry situation bottom, you have to remember that the Leona did pick up Targon, so even though the CS is showing a little bit in favor of Jinx, there are a few extra ones there coming from Leona.
Yeah, now to tier 2 of that one as well. So getting pretty nice here for the Cloud9 Europe squad. Top lane turret did go down. That was Odwamna winning the lane against that teleport Mundo. Now up 25 minions. And again, that turret kill pretty nice. So that has worked out so far for C9E.
Early turret definitely going to benefit. They actually got the turret top before the Caitlyn lane gets turret. I did not expect Caitlyn with blue buff to be the one behind on turret destruction. But man, did Odwamne really show that Shyvana is still a great early champion against Mundo.
Definitely did a great job of this one. Blue buff's going to be not stolen this time around. Fabiven grabbing his own blue. We saw NIQ get his not that long ago. So mid lane's back to kind of normal. Only 17 minions apart here. Both finishing their first big item, Nashor's Tooth versus Athene's Unholy Grail.
I do like the rush Nashor's Tooth, especially with Kale's synergy with the offense tree now stacking up blade weaving and spell weaving so fast. But the Mundo that you were talking about pointing out early, the early giant spell, looks like he stalled out on that build. Maybe it was just because he had the right amount of gold on his back. to pick that one up. Now it looks like he is going straight for that Spirit Visage instead.
That's just, yeah, sorry, that's just weird.
Yeah,
I just like sat there, I was like, huh.
He had a moment of clarity. He was like, oh my god, she's rushing Blade of the Ruined King. I don't want to go early Warmogs. Let's flip it and go with the Spirit Visage.
Get some of that regen. Okay, so Kickus actually will get some China jungling this time around. Nope, doesn't get it at all. Warms it up for Ku.
Man, he got it down to half, but Ku wants blood here.
He's going to get the red buff slow. There's the axe, lands the Q.
Kayle has her ultimate for this one, too. That could be really, really painful.
Gets the E-slow, jumps to his teammate. A lot of damage from Kayle, forcing the flash out of Q. Rocket comes across, not going to land. Gragas Q, there's a jump in, one attack, and Q goes down, picks him up. Gragas ulti was already down. Great chase there by NIQ.
Oh god, double buff Kayle is ridiculous.
Oh no.
At a 15-minute mark here, she's going to be able to run all over the map right now. Infinite sustain because of the extra mana from blue buff, plus the harass on her range auto attack. Never mind, blue buff runs out. Ha! Only get half a buff now.
All right, well, mid lane turret, though, under siege right here. That was killed by Cloud9 Esports a little while ago, but it's going to be answered soon here. They've been clearing some of the minions. Not quite all of them, but doing a pretty good job of holding on to the line. Odwamna showing up mid doesn't find much. He's going to turn back.
I do like that early pink ward from Cloud9, by the way, just because they have the Shyvana who's shoving in this Mundo and wants free reign of the red side jungle. Placing that one on the back side of the red allows her to make that roam whenever she wants. She knows that there's no vision going to catch her going down to mid lane. So if she does find another opportunity where Kayle is shoved up, then Forbidden can easily set up that gank.
Oh, it's looking pretty good for them. Got the ward. We'll see how long it lasts. NIQ taking a bunch of pain. Ults himself. They've been a little bit low. Likely to not go down. Picks it up with a body slam. NIQ getting killed. Cloud9 2-1 in kills. Small gold lead as well.
Buff transfer complete. Back on Gragas now. And every single lane here for Cloud9 shoving in. It looks like the Caitlyn Leona are the last ones trying to still work on that turret.
And we talked about how good they were in the pregame. And they're failing us in the turret kills. Come on, guys. Huron and Voidal, do your jobs.
I mean, yeah, this game has really been a lot about the jungle and mid synergy, plus just Shyvana running over Mundo early.
Yeah, Ku has just been there, like in mid, like the whole freaking time. He's like really tried to make this lane work, and that was my scare with Kayle. Is like she's pretty immobile. Gragas like should just make her drop. Ku made that one happen. Kickus, Choki's showing up. Not going to land many slows. They're going to be okay. Huron, though, dropping dangerously low. Woolite putting the damage into Voidal. Lands a slow, still chasing. Picks putting out some damage as well. Huron then another shot in the face, and they're going to get out.
The thing is, too, as we move more towards the mid game here for Cloud9, they have an amazing siege team right now. I mean, Gragas plus Caitlyn, anytime you just have those two champions by themselves, means you have a good shot at the late game tower sieging. So if they ever do get out of this lane here, if they end up taking out that outer turret, as soon as they join the rest of the team, it should be pretty clear path for them.
Well, on this top lane turret, dangerously low. Cloud9 forced to run away from Jokies. We'll see if that path can get cleared for these guys. See if they can keep it going right now. 2,000 gold. Dragons up in 45 seconds.
So not only have Pulse warded defensively for their bottom lane, because this is the last outer turret that they have standing down there for Lulu and Jinx, but those wards that they use to see the incoming ganks and tower dives are also going to set up well for that dragon.
Yeah, it's going to be a good place for these guys. We'll see him Pulse. We'll see Pulse coming in. Pulse shows up to the mid lane, pushes them back. 23 seconds now on Dragon. Voidal adding more to the ward coverage, adding another one to that route in. That one in the like upper right-hand side jungle hasn't been cleared yet. Kickus again jumped on, forced to ghost away, and she's going to miss the dragon. Just airball. Wow, that's embarrassing.
Right over Olaf's head there. Ku actually going to get caught out a little bit here.
He's going to be okay, though. Blue buff goes to NIQ right before the fight. Kickus forced away. Odwamna still a dragon, but a shamed one.
That was definitely a Free Willy moment. Olaf just sees the giant blue dragon flying over his head. But we already prepped this point really well because we said, you know, Mundo taking teleport in that matchup means he has the global advantage. So even though he got shoved in super early by Shyvana, he's been able to stay up there and get some CS back and put some pressure onto this turret while the rest of the team forces a dragon.
And they get it completely. Pulse able to delay until they have to react to the teleport Mundo moves. No, Cloud9 is going mid instead. The plays here, these guys just making just advantages out of nothing. They're still going for the inhibitor turret, and here's the teleport from Mundo.
They've now cornered themselves. This is a tight spot.
Okay, Traps land, hit 2. Sharna in a bad spot right there. Mundo comes on, and Kick is chasing as well. The dive in towards the Lennox. 3-man knockup Q forced away. Oh, the stun onto NIQ. He got it. Oh, he kills him in midair. Goodbye to Lee Sin, trading 1 for 1 so far. Voidal trying to solo the mid laner. One more, gets him. Fabivin not in a good spot though. 1 versus 2, or 2 versus 1. Kickers picks up 1. Now the 1 versus 2 for Odoamna. Nowhere to go. Is going to have to be pretty careful at this one. Still wanting to fight. I'm not sure that this is a good idea. This fight's going well for Pulse though, 3-2.
Now, Cloud9's thinking there. We have the global objective of Dragon being forced by Pulse. And their Mundo is top teleport, so we need to go somewhere else. They don't want to take the fight at Dragon because the Mundo is going to teleport in, and they didn't have the greatest of vision. So they decide to rotate mid. Sounds like a good idea. But after taking them down the first turret, they move on to the inhibitor, which sandwiches them between the turret damage and the rest of the Pulse team. So they are inevitably going to have to take that fight anyway that they didn't want to take around Dragon. And it ended up going against them this time. It was actually a pretty good job by Cloud9 by splitting up the team. As soon as Kale ulted, you saw Ku kick him out, so he couldn't get off damage freely while he was invulnerable. But then it was so hard for them to finish off the Kale. Ended up getting another kill before it went down.
The mid-air Lee Sin kill, I think, was my favorite part of that one, where he's like diving forward and is like, I'm gonna get you, and then like swatted out of the air. Like
Ku going in again, though. He misses the combo this time.
Slow onto Willet. They're going to go on forward. Actually, Ascension used. Oh, no, the slow lands. And goodbye to Jinx. Alendix going away sad and alone in that bottom lane.
So when you miss the Sonic Wave after your Dragon Kick, that's often because your mouse was too close to your champion trying to throw it out, so you don't get the right angle, and he just barely missed it right there. Got to spread it out a little bit more. If you're going to throw out your Sonic Wave after the kick, I mean, they go in a straight line, but you have to make sure you hit it.
Yeah.
A lot of people, just to be super safe, land the Sonic Wave first, then kick them away.
Yeah, the point-blank Q and whatnot. So
that allows a little bit of counterplay, though.
Yeah, you get another quarter second there to get around to that one. So we got a quick pause for this one. You saw the bottom turret finally going down. Hjarnan and Voidal, they got the turret kill. Only required Ku to show up and kill him for them. But it worked out. They got it. So 3 turrets. The outer ring is done. The top lane secondary, remember, was low as well. So Cloud9, I remember from looking at these guys that they're all individually very, very skilled. And on paper, they look like stronger players. 4 of them were in Challenger last season. Voidal made Challenger this season.
That counts all 5 then. They've all been in Challenger recently.
In the last like 2-3 months. And obviously Challenger in 5s. Rank 1 5s team under Apples is sour. But what I saw from them, and this is what they said as well in interviews, is that they were really bad in terms of like coordination and shot calling and like closing out games. Now I did see that in their game against Heavy Bot Lane a couple weeks ago in their play-in match. They had like an advantage and kind of sat around Baron for 20 minutes and finally closed it out. Now I don't think this is like a game where they're heavily winning, but it feels like they're hesitant on making a lot of these moves to me.
I think a lot of that has to do with how their bottom lane was still down there, and they weren't moving as a team yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I did like the Lee Sin communication with both Gragas and also the Shyvana play by herself.
Yeah.
So I have to see how they actually play when they do group up, because like you said, the bottom turret just went down. They've got Gragas and they've got Caitlyn, so that's a good tower sieging team. We'll have to see if they can actually pull off that end game strategy of the 5-man where they use the Gragas barrels for wave clear, as well as the Puto for Peacemaker, and then they can get chipping away at those turrets, because they're going to have to avoid, Olaf is going to be running straight in. That's not really hard engage, so all you have to do is kite back.
Yeah.
And we'll have to see if they can
maybe with
pull it
Lulu.
off.
Is that like enough? Like if you like whimsy ults
I mean, there's definitely reaction to that. Like Caitlyn is a mobile AD carry too, so as long as she nets away, it's going to be like just a ghosted Olaf running at you, waiting till he gets close enough for a Lulu ult.
Trying to sprint out of that one.
Yeah.
Let's see. And so we think about this, and of course, Pulse are doing a very good job, right? Like, they got freaking camped in the mid lane, and it's still pretty good for NIQ.
We haven't talked much about Pulse. You have to say that last move that they did, where they got the top turret and the dragon at the same time, and then converged mid for the team fight, really was a whole bunch of gold in their favor, because they were even further down at that point. Yeah. That was a good stepping stone for them to get back in this game. Yeah. If they want to continue that, all they have to do is hard engage on that Cloud9 team, and pick somebody off, because Kale Ultimate, if they can use it well to actually block damage instead of just using it on somebody who's low to delay their death,
Yeah.
then that really makes a difference in those team fights when you have Kale.
He's done a pretty good job, I think. Thinking back to the fights so far in this game, NIQ has been ulting with Gragas ultis in the air. He's like, it's going to hit me in the mid lane, so I'll self-cast that. And he's tending to block the damage pretty successfully. I feel like his reflexes and his awareness is on point right now, so I think we'll keep seeing more of those. What I actually want to kind of think about, though, is, so you remember the Fnatic versus Gambit game, where, so Gambit's got the teleport Mundo, they're like in the gold lead, and they kind of weren't doing anything with it. They're like splitting around, but nothing kept happening. And Fnatic would like Gragas ulti initiate and just pick someone off.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to be in store for something similar, where if, like Pulse is going to like split push.
Yeah.
Moon is going to be on his own. And then Cloud9 has to like go in and find someone and just blow someone up and then keep going.
Because we were trying to come up with initiations for
Yeah.
Pulse right now, and it's Olaf who can run at you and slow you, Mundo who can run at you and slow you, and then if one of them does get close, then it's the Lulu knockup. But neither, like, those are not hard engages. That's not something you can count on for a quick initiation, especially when you're going against Gragas, who can knock people back here. So it looks like it will be a shaky late game here, and we'll have a lot of time spent sieging up around towers and a lot of kiting, I think.
Unless there's like a crazy miraculous play where it's like everyone dies all at once, like a big Gragas burst.
Kale has done a good job of catching people just with flash and slowing them with the Q.
Yeah.
So we might be just seeing slows being enough, and that's all they need.
We saw that in the Wolves versus Fnatic game. Cowtard would just flash on a Peke and just burst him out. He's like, I have a Lich Bane, I'm Kale. I'm gonna kill Ziggs, and it worked, and he would ult himself to not get traded back on. So, and that's always kind of fun, right? Like, this is one of the reasons I like heavy offense builds, is because you can be the guy who's behind, but if you play it right, you like two-shot your opponent, and you're like, haha, I won because I finished 2 items at a time.
But it's true on both teams, because if you're ahead and you're a heavy offense team, you can actually one little misstep and you're gonna go down because you're built like paper.
Yeah.
So it makes the games more exciting.
That's why I like the Ruin King Shyvana. Do a bunch of damage. Ruin King Evelyn, also a good one. Diamond. I know we were thinking about that too, right? Like Diamond going for the Ruin King Evelyn, and I'm still not completely convinced. I mean,
I'll stick with my Fiora jungle.
Yeah. Okay. so you guys, if you want at home, you can, at LOL Esports #LCS. Would you rather see in your solo queue game Blade of the Ruin King Lizard Elder Evelyn or Fiora in the jungle?
So here's my Fiora build that is just amazing, because the Spirit of the Elder Lizard is so strong right now because of the HP and mana that you get back on camps. Like, you just rush that thing. As soon as you get the Spirit Stone, Fiora is amazing. She has a lot of damage, so you'll be coming out of the jungle with full life every time. Her ganks early, not that great, I apologize, but her team fight late is ridiculous, and you can hard carry from the jungler with her if you just have Spirit of the Elder Lizard and a Hydra.
Okay.
And then you get armor penetration after that. You just get every armor penetration that you need. You just go offense like that. Doesn't matter if you die, because you're invulnerable during your ult. As long as you don't use it on something silly like Jax, then you're going to be fine.
That would suck a little bit.
Yeah, you have to be careful with who you use that on, because her ult is a little bit tricky. But as long as you get it on an actual target and there's people around, you win the team fight.
What's the 6th item?
GA.
GA. Okay,
That's pretty much just always my 6th item.
Just buy a Guardian Angel. It's worth it. Just do the Gambit methodology. Everyone has a G at the end of the game.
Yeah. Then you get 2 lives, 2 team fights.
2 team fights.
Plus, you're going to have so much lifesteal on Fiora. When you get back up, you'll actually be able to do something. Instead of just trying to run away, you can jump back to full HP really quickly.
What's the skill order?
It's Q.
Max Q?
Yeah. The last time I did it was Q max, yeah.
The last time, what was this, like 3 months ago?
It was a couple weeks ago.
Okay, fine. So, all right, Max Q, what's next, W or E?
E.
Okay, so 1 point riposte.
W is the parry thing.
Yeah.
You don't use that often. Although it's cool in the camps, you can parry like the big things that hit you.
Yeah, it's like 260 damage at max rank.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think it's like 15 passive AD. Yeah, riposte scales crazily. Did you know if you have really good reflexes, this happened to me once in a game. So you can parry all of Renekton's W. I played Fiora versus Renekton once, and like I just somehow guessed every time he would
if he comes in you with that red bar.
Yeah.
And you know he's going to want to stun you, yeah.
Yeah. Block the entire damage, hit him back, and you're like, I'm winning the trades now. I shouldn't.
Fiora, best champion.
Really hard to do, but if you can do it, I'm just saying. It's a good build.
So the other thing, if you're having trouble with your ganks with Fiora, you first Q onto the minion line. You want to gank. Fiora's one of the few champions that you want to gank when there's a minion line for your enemy.
That's
because
true.
you can Q to the first minion and use your second Q to gain the rest of the distance. So usually her gap closer is pretty short.
Yeah.
But since you get to use 2 of them, you can actually make use of the minion lines, get to that sucker, and take him out.
Yeah, and you can stack your E the whole time. Gives you movement speed every time you hit someone. So you're running fast at them. You dash at them. When they think to get away, you pop the ultimate. Fiora ganks 101. One-shot people.
I'm telling you right now, that's going to be the next OP jungler. I swear.
See, Jat's convinced it's Wukong.
So Wukong's already. Like, it's not the next. It was banned in the LCS already.
Okay, fine.
He's on. That's just flavor of the month now. That's hype train. Wukong. And Night Blue streams it, so that's like 60,000 people that.
So we're already done?
Want to jump on that.
All right. Well, guys, apparently, unfortunately, Pulse has reached their 10-minute pause limit for the game. So Pulse is actually forced to forfeit Game 1, and Cloud9 Eclipse wins Game 1. But we've still got more to go, of course, guys. We're going to take a quick break while the team swaps sides. When you return, it's going to be Game 2 between Pulse Esports and Cloud9 Eclipse. The 2014 European Challenger Series will be right back, so stick around.
At least they don't have to go out.